Well, hello everybody. Today I'd like to share with you the story of one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history, the sinking of the RMS Titanic on April 15, 1912. This majestic British passenger liner, which was on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, struck an iceberg and sank in the North Atlantic Oceans, claiming the lives of over 1,500 people. The tragedy of the Titanic has captivated the world's attention for over a century, inspiring countless books, films, and TV shows, as well as sparking a push for improved safety regulations for the ships. In the presentations, I hope to give you a glimpse into the history of legacy of the RMS Titanic, as well as the human stories that make this tragedy so unforgettable.
RMS Titanic was a British super passenger ship that sank in the North Atlantic Ocean on April 15, 1912 after striking an iceberg on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York City.
Arrival of the Carpathia in New York. Carpathia took 3 days to reach New York after leaving the scene. His voyage was hampered by hostile seas. The ship managed to spread the news of the disaster around the world using various equipment. Initial reports were less clear. Disaster investigation. Even before the survivors arrived in New York, an investigation was already being planned to find out what happened. The lead investigator, Senator William Alden Smith, wanted to gather accounts from passengers and crew while the events were still fresh in their mind. J.P. Morgan, the true owner of the Titanic, Lord Misley, was appointed chairman of the disaster investigation by the British Board of Trade. The recommendation include major changes to maritime regulation, to implement new safety regulations, such as ensuring that a large number of lifeboat trial of property carried out, and wireless equipment on passenger ship is always supervised by officers who are provided 24 hours a day. The International Ice Patrol was established to monitor the presence of icebergs in the North Atlantic, and maritime safety regulations were introduced to the world through the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea.
It is California the ship that tried to warn Titanic of the danger of drifting ice. One of the most controversial issues studied in the investigation was the role played by the SS Californian, which was just a few miles from the Titanic but did not respond to its distress call of China rocket. After the latest detail became public, the West Airlines charter ship from Halifax, Nova Scotia to remove the bodies. The first lifeboat to reach the scheme found so many bodies that the ship's supply of bulk quickly ran out. Relative of the fighting came for all over North America to identify and claim the bodies. Some bodies were sent for burial in their hometowns. About 2/3 of the bodies were recognized. Unrecognized fighting were buried the same number in the order in which they were found.
Survivor, and this is victim. The sinking of the Titanic resulted in the deaths of 1,014 people. In one of the deadliest antiquity maritime disasters in history. The passengers included some of the world's wealthiest, as well as more than 8,000 immigrants from Britannia, Ireland, Scandinavia, and other countries seeking a new life in North America. The ship also had a state-of-the-art wireless telegraph for passenger and ship operators. Despite the Titanic advanced safety equipment, the ship did not have enough lifeboats to accommodate all of the ship passengers. Due to outdated marine safety regulations, the Titanic was only able to accommodate 1,078 passengers, third of the total passengers and crew. The Titanic brought and is posing with 1,000 passengers aboard. People in the water died from hypothermia due to contact with the Virgin Ocean. 710 survivors were lifted for the lifeboat of the RMS Carpathia a few hours later. Many survivors lost their fortune and became destitute, especially the families of crew members from Southampton. Losing their main source of income, they were helped by a flow of sympathy and charitable donations from the public. Captain Edward John Smith. As the ship began to sink, Captain Edward walked into the driver room. He looked sad and guilty but resigned as the seawater slowly entered. Captain Edward drowned with the ship, but his death is still confusing. Some eyewitnesses who survived the scene saw the captain jump into the sea to help and encourage the passenger to survive. He was afraid to take a lifeboat but refused to put the passenger first. But there are also those who say they saw the captain jump into the sea to help and encourage the passenger to survive. He was afraid to take a lifeboat but refused to put his passenger first. Thanks to his heroic action, the captain was honored and auspicious man. Many people admire his fortitude and calm attitude in the face of adversity. Frederick Fleet Crew. Frederick was the first crew member to see the iceberg. He was on watch when the ship hit the iceberg, and he claimed it was because they were not given binoculars so they could not see in the dark. Frederick survived and rowed the same lifeboat as Margaret Brown. He continued to work as a sailor until his retirement, but fell into poverty. Frederick, however, suffered from severe desperation, and as a result, he could to hang himself in January 1965. On the 100th anniversary of the Titanic tragedy in 2012, an annual pilgrim came to pay his respect by flashing binoculars on Frederick's grave. He also included a note, "Sorry, it's 100 years too late."
7 factors that caused the Titanic to sink. 1. Sailing too fast. Captain E.G. Smith has sailed the massive ship at top speed 22 knots through the iceberg riding water of the North Atlantic. 2. Wireless radio operator ignored the iceberg. Before the Titanic hit the iceberg, the California ship sent a warning, but the warning did not start with the perfect MSG. Titanic radio operator Jack Phillips deemed the other ship notification not urgent. 3. Possible fatal trend. One of the crew members panicked after hearing the other to turn starboard to avoid freezing the iceberg. He became confused and turned the wrong way straight into the ice. 4. Titanic builder tried to cut costs. Investigators found the Titanic did not sink in text, but had broken up at sea level. The reason is more than 3 rivets contain slate, which can cut metal. 5. Mismarred and horizon with foggy condition. The Titanic began to sink before the California ship would have thought the ship had just sailed away. 6. The Scots did not have binoculars. David Blair, who had the key to the binocular, forgot to hand the key over to the officer who relieved him. 7. Not enough lifeboats. 20 lifeboats is the legal minimum with a total capacity of 1,100 7-8 people.
Titanic Belfast in Titanic Quarter, Queen Road, Belfast, Northern Ireland. On the side of the plane are the names of 22 Belfast men who died in the disaster. This monument is the centerpiece of the small Titanic Memorial Park in Southampton, England. A memorial to Titanic engineers can be found in Andrew Park on Buckbar Street, where the main monument at the corner of Cumberland Place and London Road is the Titanic Musicians Memorial, commemorating band leader Wallace Hartley and the other musicians who continue to play while the ship sank. There is another memorial dedicated to Wallace Hartley in his hometown of Colne, Lancashire. A memorial to the ship's postal employees, market steadfast in peril, was erected by Southampton Heritage Service.
So, what we learned from these tragic incidents? First of all, when disaster strikes, everyone is in the same boat, rich and poor, young and old, male and female, first class or second class, and deckhands. Problems, pain, suffering is no respecters of persons. Death eventually comes to all. The ancient preachers of Ecclesiastes observed it was so. That was true on that fateful night 140 years ago. It's still true today. Secondly, values are quickly altered in dire circumstances. 2. Values are quickly altered in dire circumstances. 3. Titanic reminds us how quickly life can change. 4. Man's boasting is of vain. Columnist Carl Thomas wrote, "The Titanic was a monument to the glory and presumed omnipotence of human ingenuity, which was also destroyed. Indeed, pride goes before destruction, and haughty spirits before fall. The ships one thought virtually unsinkable sank." As we conclude our group project on RMS Titanic, I want to express my gratitude to my fellow group members for their hard work and dedications. Together we have delved into the history and engineering of the Titanic, the experience of the passengers and crew, and the aftermath of the tragedy. Through this project, we have not only learned about an important event in history but also developed valuable skills in collaborations, research, analysis, presentations. We have worked together to gather informations, synthesize ideas, and communicate our findings to others. The sinking of RMS Titanic is a reminder of the importance of safety measures and the devastating consequences that can result from overlooking them. Throughout the project, we have gained deeper understanding of the human impact of this tragedy and its lasting legacy.